Before you book your next Airbnb or take a night shift alone, you need to hear this. According to the National Park Service, over 1,600 people vanish in U.S. parks every year without ever being found. Last year alone, Airbnb logged over 30,000 safety complaints from guests in the United States. Most of them are about noise or cleanliness. Some of them are not. The 3 stories you're about to hear were all posted on r/nasleep within the last 8 months. All 3 were deleted by the original posters within 48 hours. All 3 happened in Ohio, Oregon, and Texas. And in each case, according to the final comments before deletion, police are still looking for the hosts. So lock your door, put your headphones on, and don't pause this. Once you hear what's inside that locked closet in Ohio, you won't want to be alone. This is 20 minutes of true creepy encounters. I never write on Reddit. I'm posting this because my girlfriend Maya told me I should document it while it's fresh. 2 weeks ago we booked a cheap Airbnb in Lakewood, Ohio. It was a big old Victorian house, way too big for the price. The listing said it was built in 1923. The photos showed hardwood floors, tall windows, and that exact suburban house in the fog. Our host was named Margaret. She was in her late 60s, polite but distant. She met us at the front door and gave us one rule. She said, quote, "You can use any room, any bathroom, the kitchen, the yard. But the small closet in the master bedroom is locked for personal storage. Please do not open it." She said it twice. Her hand was shaking when she said it. The house was beautiful, but it felt wrong. The air was cold even though it was July. All the doors in the hallway had those old skeleton keys in them, except the closet in our bedroom. That one had a brand new brass deadbolt. That first night, around 2:17 in the morning, we both woke up to a sound. It was a child crying. Soft, muffled, coming from inside the wall right next to our bed. It was coming from the locked closet. Maya thought it was the neighbors. I told myself it was pipes. But it was clearly a little girl, maybe 5 or 6 years old, whimpering like she was trying not to be heard. I knocked on the closet door and said hello. The crying stopped instantly. Then we heard soft footsteps inside the closet, walking away from the door. There is no space behind that closet. It's an interior wall. The second night was worse. We were watching TV downstairs and we heard the same crying, louder this time, plus scratching. Like small fingernails dragging down wood from the inside. I went upstairs alone. The door to the bedroom was open even though I swear we closed it. The closet door was vibrating slightly. Cold air was pouring out from under it. When I touched the handle, it was freezing cold. I found a small silver key taped under the kitchen sink the next morning. It was old and had a pink rabbit keychain on it. I shouldn't have used it. I told Maya to stay downstairs and I opened the closet. The smell hit me first. Dust and old perfume and something sour. Inside was empty except for the walls. The entire inside of the closet was covered in small handprints. Hundreds of them. In faded crayon, in pencil, in what looked like dried paint. At the bottom, there was a child's mattress, a stuffed bunny with one eye, and a photo. The photo was Margaret holding a little girl, maybe 4 years old, in front of this same house. On the back in faded ink it said, "Lily, 2018, age 5, my angel." I called Margaret. She didn't answer. I called Airbnb support. While I was on hold, Margaret walked into the house without knocking. She just stood in the bedroom doorway watching me watch the closet. She said, she never stopped crying after the fever took her. She said, sometimes she lets guests hear her because she's lonely. We left in 20 minutes. We left the key on the counter. 2 days later the listing was gone. I searched Lakewood, Ohio obituaries. Lily Margaret Hayes, died February 12, 2019, age 5, complications from influenza. The house is listed again now under a different host name. Same photos. Same rule in the description, closet is locked for storage. I checked last night. The calendar is fully booked. I took a house-sitting job in Ashland, Oregon for 3 weeks. It paid $4,000. The owner was a botany professor at Southern Oregon University. His house was at the edge of the forest, literally where the suburban yard ends and the dark woods begin. He said he was doing field research in Washington and needed someone to water plants and get mail. Easy money. He left me a handwritten note on the kitchen counter with 3 rules. 1. Water the ferns every other day. 2. Don't go into the basement after sunset. 3. Don't feed the thing in the cellar. I laughed when I read it. I thought it was a weird joke. Underneath he had written, I mean it. Every 3 days it gets restless. Don't answer it. I stopped laughing. The house was quiet. Too quiet. The first 2 days were fine. On the third night, around 11, I was in the living room and I heard knocking from below me. Not pipes. 3 slow knocks. Pause. 3 more. It was coming from the basement door in the kitchen. The door had 3 new padlocks on it and a chair wedged under the handle. I told myself it was the house settling. On day 4, I found a diary in the office. It wasn't hidden. It was open on the desk to the last entry. The handwriting was frantic. It said, Day 412. It learned to mimic my voice. It stood outside my bedroom window last night watching me. It was wearing my face but wrong. The eyes were too far apart. I heard footsteps in the yard even though the basement is locked. If you're reading this, don't look in the small window on the basement door. I looked. That night I heard footsteps outside. I live in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by forest. No neighbors for half a mile. I looked out the kitchen window into the dark yard and saw nothing. Then I felt like I was being watched. I turned around. There was a face in the kitchen window reflection, right behind me. Pale, too tall, smiling with too many teeth. I spun around. No one there. The basement door was open an inch even though I had not touched it. Cold air and a smell of wet earth and rot came up from the cellar. I grabbed a flashlight and looked down the basement stairs. The basement was not a basement. It was a dirt hole, like a root cellar that went way back into the hillside, deeper than the house. At the far end, in the dark, something moved. It was big. It unfolded. It whispered my name in the professor's voice. It said, I'm hungry. Feed me. I slammed the door, locked all 3 padlocks, and pushed the fridge in front of it. I stayed awake all night with every light on, staring at the door. Around 3 a.m., I heard scratching from the other side, and then a soft childlike voice saying, let me out, it's cold down here. Then it said in my own voice, don't leave me in the dark forest alone. I had never told anyone that phrase. It was what I used to say as a kid when my parents locked me in the closet. I left the next morning and drove 6 hours straight. I called the professor. His number was disconnected. I called the university. They said Dr. Ellis retired 3 years ago and died last winter. The house is still there on Google Maps. Last week someone posted a photo on r/Oregon. A hiker found a trail camera in those woods. The last photo on it was from 2 nights after I left. It showed my face in the upstairs window at 3:13 a.m., watching the forest, even though I was already gone. My brother and I booked an Airbnb outside Austin, Texas for South by Southwest. It was a modern farmhouse, all white walls and black windows, in the middle of nowhere. The host was a guy named Caleb who had superhost status and 405 star reviews. He said, Make yourself at home, mi casa es su casa. He left before we even unpacked. The house was perfect. Too perfect. Every book on the shelf was arranged by color. The bathroom had brand new towels still folded with the tag. The bedroom had a full-length mirror that faced the bed. At 2 a.m. I woke up because I felt like someone was watching me. I opened my eyes and looked at the mirror. For a split second, I swear there was a man standing behind me in the reflection. I sat up. Nothing. The second day, I was looking for extra blankets and I pushed on the bookshelf in the living room. It moved. It was a hidden door. Behind it was a small dark room. The same size and shape as our bedroom. It was an exact replica. Same bed, same mirror, same nightstand. But everything was dirty, used. The bed had a dip in it like someone had been sleeping there. The mirror was foggy with handprints on the inside. On the replica bed, there was a photo album. I opened it. It was filled with printed photos. Dozens of them. All of different guests sleeping in the main bedroom. Time stamped. All taken at night. From the corner of the room, where the mirror is. One photo was from last night. It showed me and my brother asleep. Taken at 3:07 a.m. From inside the replica room, looking out through what must be two-way glass where the mirror is. Someone had been standing there watching us. At the back of the album, there was a page with our names written on it. And under it, scratched into the paper so deep it tore, were the words "Welcome home." We heard knocking then. Loud, slow knocking from the main house side of the bookshelf door. Someone was trying to get in. Or out. My brother yelled, "Who is there?" A voice whispered, "You forgot to lock the door." It was Caleb's voice. We ran out the front door and called 911. We were in the front yard, in the dark, with our phone's flashlight on, and we saw footprints all around the house. Fresh. Going from window to window. Leading to the cellar door on the side of the house we hadn't noticed before. The sheriff arrived 40 minutes later. He searched the house. The bookshelf was solid. No hidden room. No album. He said we were probably high. We drove to a hotel. The next morning, Caleb messaged us on Airbnb, "Thanks for staying, hope you enjoyed the mirror. How did you sleep?" Airbnb deleted his account that afternoon for suspicious activity. A week later, another guest posted a review on a Reddit thread about creepy Airbnbs. Same house. Same town in Texas. She said, "Loved the house, but weird, found photos of us sleeping in the nightstand drawer. Host said it was a prank. I still have one photo. I took it with my phone inside the replica room before we ran. It shows the main bedroom through the mirror. You can see me taking the photo. And behind me, in the replica room's foggy mirror, you can see someone standing in the doorway. No face. Just watching. I didn't see him when I took it." The police in Texas said the house is registered to an LLC that doesn't exist. They are still looking for Caleb. If you booked an Airbnb near Austin with a bookshelf that feels loose, don't open it. Some doors are mirrors for a reason.